Because I do think a lot of males die never really having become men.
When does a male become a man?
I love this term used as surplus value. When you approach relationships from a generative viewpoint. So growing up, I say to my boys, you're negative value right now. You got a school spending a ton of time and resources on you. Your parents are giving you more love than you're giving us. Society is providing you with roads. If you call 911, someone's going to pick up. You're not generating any tax revenue.
You're not adding value.
You're negative value everywhere.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think when you become a man, it's not age, it's not some sort of religious ceremony. It's when you are generating more economic value than you're absorbing. It's when you're noticing people's lives and absorbing more complaints than you're making. Quite frankly, it's when you're giving more love and more cloud cover for other people than you have received. You're adding surplus value is the term that Richard uses, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of males never get there. I still know people who call their parents a bitch and complain when their parents are 80. And it's like, okay, at some point it needs to flip where you're taking care of your parents. And also, I came to this conclusion recognizing I didn't really, by that standard, become a man until I was in my 40s, because I used to be that guy that approached every relationship of, if I wasn't getting more joy and camaraderie from a friend than I was giving, it was like, I'm on the wrong side of this capitalist trade, and I'd exit the friendship.
Interesting.
If I spent time with my girlfriend's parents when they were in town, I would expect her to spend as much or more time. If I felt an employee wasn't giving me a lot more value than I was paying them, I'm thinking, okay, this isn't working, and I'd let them go. I was all about this mindset of relationships as a transaction. And then what I've come to realize is like, that's the opposite of what it means to add surplus value and be a man. That the ultimate kind of litmus test is, first you got to take care of yourself. You got to fix your own oxygen mask. Then you take care of your family. Then you take care of your community, ideally take care of your country or protect your country. And then the ultimate expression, I think, of manhood is you plant trees the shade of which, you'll never sit under. So it's been a kind of a journey for me, but I like the idea, this notion of surplus generative value in relationships.
I love that. I used to think that you become a man, and maybe it's more emotionally or spiritually, when you have a child and when you lose your father. Like, you have to step into some type of spiritual breakthrough. But then I was like, okay, well, anyone could have kids. They could just have lots of kids, but not really be there as a father, as a dad. So, and when I lost my father a few years ago, I really felt like, something shifted in me. And I lost him mentally 20 years ago when he went through a brain injury. He had an accident, and he was alive physically, but emotionally he wasn't available. And he wasn't a provider anymore with spiritual, emotional, or financial support. So it was more like I had to support him, and our family had to support him. But then when he fully passed physically, it's like something also shifted at a whole nother level of like, I really need to step into this spiritual or psychological way of being now, because I can no longer rely that my father's going to rescue me. Even though he was here, like maybe he could have bailed me out some way, but no longer can my father bail me out. And now having twins, it's like, I get to continue to step up as a man, continue to step up as a leader to myself, a leader to my spouse, a leader to our extended families, and provide emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and continue to evolve. I can't be, I don't know. I don't have the ability anymore to act like a child. You know what I mean? I can be childlike energetically, but I have to be able to provide a space to serve and serve beyond me. Obviously, I need to take care of me, but the goal that I'm hearing you say is, how can we add way more value than we're taking? And I think that is part of it. So I don't know what my definition now is, like, or when you truly become it. I don't know if you can truly step into like manhood if your father's still alive and if you don't have kids. I don't know if there's still some like childish boy energy until one of those things happen, but
I think there's a lot of people who become men who never have kids. So the way you talked about kind of birth and death
Mm-hmm.
are tremendous points of inspiration to kind of
Yes.
grow up and start behaving in a way that makes you men. But I think a lot of people have kids and never become men.
That's true.
And a lot of people, who have parents live well into their 50s or 60s never become a man. But what you say resonates in the sense that I think of kind of the two. I would say what motivated me to be a better man
Mm-hmm.
or get to manhood. And they both involve women, and one's more
Yes.
virtuous than the other. And that is when my mom, I was kind of sleepwalking through life, didn't get my act together until I was about 25, 26. And my mom got really sick. And I didn't have the money. She called me from graduate. I was in graduate school. She'd had her second mastectomy and got discharged early from the hospital, because hospitals are expensive. And she was at home and she called me and said, "You need to come home. I'm really in a bad way." My mom was not dramatic. So I got on a flight back from Berkeley and I walked into a situation, Lewis, that I just didn't know how to deal with it. And there's just certain things a son can't do for his mother. And I remember thinking, I need to get her a nurse. And I called. The nurses were $35 an hour and I had about $700 in my name. And just the shame, it's like, okay, I'm the man, I'm the only son, the only child of a single immigrant mother, taking care of me my whole life. She's really vulnerable right now, and I can't live up to my expectations.
Yeah, that's tough.
That was really upsetting. And at that moment, I decided, look, you can't decide to be economically secure, but you can decide to kind of go all in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really got my act together and said, okay, you can't control the market trumps individual dynamics. And there's some exceptionally talented people that work really hard their whole life and take risks and never get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't control that, but the things you can't control, I decided I was going to work really hard. That was very motivating for me. And then the other thing is less virtuous. I noticed early that guys who had their shit together professionally and economically,
They attracted more women.
seem to be attracting a broader selection set of mates.
Yeah.
And I even saw it through UCLA. The freshmen were interested in guys that were funny and cool and dressed well. And by the time they were seniors, they were very interested in that guy going to medical school.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't like to talk about this, but women are attracted to men for three reasons. The first is to signal resources. And you don't have to show up with a Range Rover or a Panerai. You can just be someone who has shit together. It's like, this guy's going to be a good provider. The second is humor. We talked about this in the last one, or intellect. And then the third, and this is, I think, is the most under-leveraged secret weapon in mating for a man, is kindness. And that is, women instinctively believe at some point they'll be vulnerable because of gestation or they're physically smaller. So they're very drawn to men who demonstrate kindness, and that is acts of generosity with no reciprocal expectation. So, and that's the most men understand 1 and 2, but what they don't understand is they need a kindness practice, because I do think you can learn kindness. It starts with manners, but if you try to, small acts of generosity every day, I do think it starts to become second nature. But I wanted to take care of my mom, and quite frankly, I wanted more dates.
Mm-hmm.
And that was both those things were very motivating for me to try and be a better man. And then what you talked about, having kids.
How old were you when you had kids?
I started late. I was 42.
Yeah, me too.
You're
42.
Oh, you're 42.
Just had kids.
Yeah, you at 42 is a different look than me at 42. Anyways, but when my kid came marching, or had the poor judgment to come marching out of my girlfriend, it was 2008, and I had lost everything.
Oh, right at the housing crisis, yeah.
I had always gone all in. I kind of came a professional age in San Francisco where you're supposed to go all in, borrow money against your stocks. And you were kind of taught, if you're really talented, you're in it to win it, and you can, I'm so awesome that if I throw myself at something 100%, it's going to win. Not recognizing, again, the power of diversity. So I've been wealthy 3 times, which means I've lost it twice.